Hi everybody. Hope you and yours are doing great. This week's Parsha is Parshat Beshalach. The portion is Beshalach. Has a special name. It's called Shabbat Shira, the Shabbos of song, because the Jewish people sang a beautiful song spontaneously, thanking God for the miracles that had transpired by the splitting of the sea, sparing the Jewish people from the Egyptian onslaught. But in this week's Parsha, there's also a very interesting story about providing for the Jewish people in the desert. There was no Ralphs or Vons in the desert for them to go to for food, so the Almighty provided a special food called manna from heaven. And the manna had many wonderful miracles to it, but some unique things were that it only fell once a day, and the food only lasted for that day, with the exception of on Friday. Friday, double portion fell for Shabbos, because on Shabbos the manna did not fall. And they had a double portion, which is actually why we have the custom of having a double bread. Anytime we wash on Shabbos, we have two challahs, or two matzahs, to make the blessing on Shabbos Yom Tov, to remember the double portion of manna that the Almighty gave on Fridays for the Jewish people to have for Shabbos. But the Torah this week tells us something interesting, that some manna was put into a jar and saved for eternity. Now, first of all, that was interesting because if any manna was saved, normally it spoiled for the next day. They had to use it that day. And why would they bother putting it into a jar? For what purpose? And the other question is, why couldn't they save it normally for the next day? Dasan and Avrohom tried it and it rotted. Every day of the week except for Friday, like I said, they saved it for Shabbos. And the answer is related to each other. The answer is that the Almighty wanted to show the Jewish people then and for eternity that He's the one who provides. And they should always remember that the Almighty is the provider. Yes, we have to, unfortunately, due to Adam and Eve eating from the other Makava, eating from the Eitz Hadas, the tree of knowledge, one of the curses is that man has to toil. But we have to understand that it's ultimately the Almighty who provides. So why did they keep it in the jar? Because the prophet later on, Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah, would tell the Jewish people, why aren't you spending more time studying Torah? And they said, how are we going to spend time? We have to work. We have jobs. And Yirmiyahu pulled out the jar of the manna and he said, your forefathers survived on manna from heaven. The Almighty provides. And that's what you need to remember. There's a beautiful story with the great Hasidic master, the Rabbi Zisha, who every day after long times of service, of prayer and learning, he'd come home and he would say, Almighty Zisha is hungry. And that was the sign that the man in the kitchen who worked there should bring him the food. And after a while, the man in the kitchen decided, I'm going to be a wise guy. I'm not going to respond to that. If the Almighty is providing for him, let the Almighty provide. He should be calling me to bring in the food. Why is he asking the Almighty for the food? And sure enough, the next day, the Rabbi Zisha, after his long services and studying sessions, came home and said, Rabbi Shalom, Master of the Universe, Zisha is hungry. And the man in the kitchen said, I'll show him. And just then there was a knock on the door. And the man brings in a beautiful tray of food for the Rabbi Zisha. He felt he owed him some gratitude to something the Rebbe Zisha had done. And the man in the kitchen realized that the Rebbe Zisha is not just playing around. He knows that God is the one who provides. If I'm lucky enough, I can serve Him. But if I'm not going to serve Him, the Almighty will provide for Him in another way. So this is an important idea. There's another idea that we have to realize, what should our view of money be and work? Well, there's a beautiful supplemental prayer that some people say in the silent devotion, and I'll just quote some of it. It says, bring forth for me and all the members of my household my food before I have need for it, in contentment but not in pain, in a permissible, not in forbidden manner, in honor but not in disgrace, for life and for peace, from the flow of blessing and success, and from the flow of the heavenly spring, so that I may be able to do your will and engage in your Torah and fulfill your commandments. Make me not needful of people's largesse. May there be fulfilled in me the verse that states, you open your hands and satisfy the desire of every living being. So the prayer is teaching us some important ideas, that we should come to the food honestly and to the money honestly, and that we should give it in an honorable way, and that we should use it not for power, not for luxuries, and not for anything else or prestige, but not for anything else other than being able to serve the Almighty properly. So that changes the idea about how much money we have. And we have to have an attitude also of how much time we invest in it. Because we have to have a balance. Yes, we have to make our effort, but we have to have a balance for family, and a balance for Torah study, a balance for prayer, and a balance for the goal of it all. To provide for the family and for ourselves, but to be able to give charity, and to be able to have a balanced life. And of course that includes not working on Shabbos. But I will tell you something, working on Shabbos doesn't only mean working on Shabbos, but what's our attitude going to be? I met somebody who I know owns a restaurant. He told me something very beautiful. The rabbi told him that make sure your work doesn't impinge on your Shabbos. And he's a Shabbat observer. He keeps Shabbos. And he said because of those rabbis' words, he decided not to open his business after Shabbat Saturday night. Why not? He said because toward the end of Shabbos, I start looking at my watch. I have to get the fires going. I have to get the ovens. I have to make sure the workers are coming. And I said, that's not what Shabbos should be about. Shabbos, I should be disconnected from that part of my life. Just like the manna didn't fall on Shabbos because Hashem provided for Shabbos before Shabbos. So too, I'm not going to allow my business to impinge, and therefore he never opens his restaurant Saturday night, so that he can have a complete and restful and fulfilling and holy Shabbos. So may the Almighty, I bless you all, that the Almighty should bless you with blessing, that you can use the money for the right thing, for charity, and to have a balanced life of prayer and Torah study, and not too much hours at work. No one on the deathbed said, I should have spent more time at the office, and time with family, and use our time well, and may we be blessed to have Hashem's graciousness upon us, and have a balanced life, that we find balance in how we earn our money honestly and correctly, following Jewish law, so that we have a balanced life and a balanced time, and that we have a life filled with blessing from the Almighty. Have a great Shabbos.